This is the plaintiff, Melanie Heath. She says the defendant's her ex-husband, and he owes her big time. The defendant didn't have the money to care for their family dog. He promised to pay her back if she got him treated by a vet. She can't get him to pay up, however, so she's suing for the $1,039 he owes her. This is the defendant, Carrie Dulles. He says he has a cordial relationship with his ex-wife, and she offered to take their family dog, Roscoe, to the vet to have him treated. She didn't say anything about a loan, and he feels he owes her nothing. He's accused of running out on Roscoe.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Williams presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Heath, you are suing your ex-husband, Mr. Dulles, for vet bills that you say he's supposed to pay you back for and hasn't. All right, how long were you married to the defendant?
23 years.
And how many children do you have together?
4.
All right. How long have you been divorced?
12 years, since 2009.
All right, but you have a rather amicable relationship with him?
For the most part.
Okay, so tell me about the dog.
Well, poor Roscoe, I mean, Carrie seemed to neglect him a lot of the time.
Your ex?
Yeah. And he went probably 4 or 5 years without any issues. He was the best dog. I mean, when I would show up, he'd come up to the chain link fence and he'd be all excited and I'd go in. And so I got to spend time with him, but I never actually lived with the dog myself. But my girls loved him. Roscoe was just such a good dog. And
did your girls live with your ex?
Yes. Well, we had shared custody.
Okay. At the time, and the girls were how old at that time?
7, 9, and 11.
Okay. And then what happens?
Well, everything went great for 4 or 5 years, maybe 6. And Roscoe ended up having some issues where he wasn't eating, didn't want to drink water, was having a hard time walking. It looked like he was in pain or,
so by this time, Roscoe was how old?
7.
Okay. All right. So the dog is starting to behave strangely. So what happens?
Well, and we had been talking, me and the girls had been talking about it, that Roscoe needed to go in. And I was over at their house one particular evening. And I said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take Roscoe tomorrow. I said,
you said that
go
to
with
whom?
Me. Carrie and the girls, we all just kind of discussed that would be the best time to just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And I asked Carrie if he would go with me, and he said, oh, yeah, sure. Well, I get there the next morning, and Carrie says he's got a paint job or something to go on, so he can't go. Well, which I figured, because he's always found ways of getting out of things, so I wasn't real surprised. But then his girlfriend volunteered to go with me instead, so I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
So you get along well with his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a sweetheart.
Can I ask you, at this point, has anybody discussed paying for the vet bills?
Well, we decided, okay, because we knew it was bad, that he needed to get in as soon as possible.
So you bring the dog in, and what do you find out?
They said, well, we need to run some tests, this, that, and the other. They said, well, it's going to take us a little while to get these done. You can go ahead and go home for now. We'll call you when the tests are back and we know more of what we're dealing with.
Right.
And the phone call came in, and my middle daughter's the one that actually took the phone call. And she just started bawling, and she hung up, and then she explained to us that he had lots of malignant tumors, lots of benign tumors. The biggest one was on his bladder itself. That's why he wasn't able to go to the bathroom anymore. If they did everything they would need to do to fix him, essentially, it would run a minimum of $10,000, and they weren't sure that he could actually withstand the procedure, that he was that bad off that they didn't know if he'd even make it through getting all that done if we decided to go that route. So then they suggested euthanizing him.
And tell me about the discussion at the house.
Well, we're all sitting there, and we were like, yeah, okay, that's better, because we don't want him to suffer. My two daughters decided they'd go with me. And I looked at Carrie and I said, do you want to go with us? I think you should go with us. And he's like, oh, no, I can't. I couldn't do that. I couldn't see him like that. I said, okay, so you can't financially take care of the dog and you can't emotionally support your daughters in dealing with this because they love that dog. They had that dog from when they were little until, teenagers. And he says, nope, I can't do it. So me and my two daughters decide to go back down there. We go down there, and that's when we're presented the bill. And I said, well, I can come up with this much. And we called my daughter Amy, and she ponied up a portion, and Marissa ponied up a portion. So the three of us
Who's Marissa?
came up with the middle daughter.
Okay.
So we came up with the amount, and we paid it. Before we left, I told Carrie, I said, well, we're just going to have to do this. We'll go with, whatever the cheapest or the minimum is. He said, well, I can't pay you right now. I said, well, I know. And then his girlfriend volunteered all out of her next check. And he says, well, yeah, when our last gig comes through, we can, pay you back out of that. And I said, yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Did he ever pay you?
And no, not a dime.
All right. So before you leave and go pay the vet bill, he tells you, I'll pay you eventually. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Dooley's, can you tell me your reason why your dog is taken to the vet by other people and then, according to her, you promise to pay and then you don't?
Well, if we can go back to the beginning, her memory is not exactly true. All right. I was hoping to introduce you to Roscoe. That's Roscoe.
Roscoe, and who's the baby?
Yeah, that's my grandson.
Okay.
And that's Roscoe. And her memory is completely, we'd only been married, we've been married 19 years, not 23. 19 was plenty enough for me. We were divorced in 2009. I got custody of all the kids.
You got that right. Why did you get, out of curiosity, did you get sole custody or shared custody?
Yes, we got sole custody with visitations at my discretion. They found her unfit at one time. She had some issues back then. We both had issues, but I was the better parent at the time. I had them until they were all 18 and moved out of the house. At the time we're talking about, I had just been laid off of work, and I didn't have any work. And what we thought was with Roscoe is all of a sudden he would get completely dilated black eyes, and he would look completely like a zombie. He wouldn't respond to calling him. He would just sit there and drool and stare.
So why didn't you take him to a vet?
He looked like he got poisoned. Well, it wouldn't go away right away in the last couple minutes. And I thought, well, what's he eating? I went out in the yard to see if there's some kind of plant or somebody threw something in the yard. We had issues with one of the neighbors. There was a junction to the house because when they were in their backyard, he would bark. He was supposed to be a 20 to 25 pound part terrier, part Chihuahua. That's what they told us at the Animal Humane Society. Turns out he was part cattle dog, part pit bull. Turned out to be 97 pounds. If he had any Chihuahua in him, it's only because he ate one. That's the only way he was part terrier, part Chihuahua. But he was a very nice dog.
But your dog, okay, so let's talk about this event when everyone's worried about the dog and they want the dog to go to the vet.
Yes.
You were in agreement with that, correct?
So they said, we're going to take him to the vet. I said, I don't have any money to, I'm not working. She said, well, I'm taking him, he has to go. So her and the kids, and the two daughters, and my girlfriend went with. So she concurred with my ex-girlfriend that the best thing at the time to do would be to put him down. I never got a phone call. I never got notice, anything about this until they came home. My daughters were crying. We had to put him down and the whole bit. And there was never anything said about money from that time at all until 4 weeks ago when I got subpoenaed. So it was never brought up. I owed her any money until 4 weeks ago.
Didn't you? According to your daughter's not very happy with you. You know that, right? Mr. Dooley's, your daughter has given us an affidavit. Marissa.
Okay.
Marissa's affidavit says, on the evening of February 5th, Mom, Dad, Jill, and I were discussing Roscoe and the fact that there was definitely something wrong with him and he needed to go to the vet. Dad said he didn't have the money to take him. Mom said she'd cover it for now, but he would need to pay her later. Approximately 5 p.m., the vet called at Dad's, and I was there to take the call, where they explained Roscoe had 4 tumors, 2 of which were malignant. and that they were on his organs and bladder, etc. They estimated they could try to surgically remove them and start treatment, but it would be 10 grand. And there was no guarantee it would even save him, and he probably wouldn't survive the procedure. It was discussed with me, Dad, Mom, Jill, and Laura, and we all agreed he should be put to sleep. Both Laura and Dad say they would pay us back when they got money from some venue concert gigs. Me, Mom, and Jill said our goodbyes. It was so gut-wrenchingly sad. So
I don't believe that was written by my daughter.
I don't know who it was written by. It's notarized. Are you claiming that wouldn't be signed? That wasn't signed by your daughter?
I don't know. I wasn't aware of it.
Are you talking to? Are you and your daughter on talking terms, Marissa?
Me and my daughter are on great terms. I talked to her.
Get Marissa on the phone. I want Marissa on the phone, Miss Heath.
Okay, let me see if I can get her.
I can probably get her faster.
Go ahead, get her.
Hello. You're on the Judge Show about your testimony you gave her for a written statement that you wrote for Mom. Did you write that?
Yeah.
Marissa, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Your mother has presented some testimony by way of affidavit, and your father didn't think it was legit because he didn't know anything about it. But it sounds from the discussion you and your father just had that it's absolutely legit. Is it?
Yes. And then I spoke with notary.
Okay. Can I just ask you, Marissa, did you witness your father agreeing that he would pay your mother back for the dog bills?
Yes, him and his girlfriend, Laura.
And do you remember what point in time that was?
Well, did she say that?
What?
She wants to know when you witnessed me saying that.
When we were at your house.
At my house.
You said you couldn't go with us to put him down, but you and Laura said you guys were going to pay us all the money back because me, Amy, and Mom paid for all of it.
Oh, I don't remember. Okay, whatever. Okay, I think that's what the judge wants to know. But
excellent, Marissa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Of course. Bye. I love you.
Yeah, bye. I love you too.
Bye. I love you, Dad.
I think Mom got to her
Okay.
somehow. Her boyfriend's the one that's.
I don't know. Your daughter sounds like, bye, Dad, love you. It's not like this, it's not like bad blood or anything that would motivate her to lie. I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff $1,039. Good luck.
So the judge finds for the plaintiff in this case, Mr. Doulis, you're on the hook for the $1,039. According to the judge, what do you think?
I still don't believe my daughter wrote that. Her and Mom are in cahoots.
She just said she did. She just said she did.
They're in cahoots here. A lot of it's a little bit materialistic. It's about the money.
Well, I got to tell you, you got to pay your ex-wife. You're on the hook. Okay, Ms. Heath, let me ask you, how do you feel about this now?
Well, he owes it because that was his dog and his responsibility. So
Well, he thinks you and your daughter were in cahoots to put that together. You asked her to do it, I gather. Is that right?
yeah, because she was there. She was the only other witness around that could witness that he said that. So
Will this have any impact on your relationship with your ex-husband or not? What do you think?
no, it shouldn't. This is tame compared to how it was when we divorced. So.
All right. Well, congratulations. You're finally going to get that money. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Harvey?
Doug, when you have a situation like this, and if it's an issue of whether it's a gift or a loan, there is a presumption that it's a loan, and you have to blow that presumption up and show it's a gift with very clear evidence.
Marilyn, how's your mom been doing during the pandemic, and what have you been doing with her?
She's done remarkably well. She just had her 96th birthday recently.
Yeah, we had quite a celebration.
We have been, everybody in my family's vaccinated, and she got vaccinated right away. She tolerated it very well. During the pandemic and before the vaccine, we would see my mother on the porch.
Right. Yeah.
Every couple of days in Miami
and your mother,
Heat.
in fairness, sir, she's 96 and she's pretty sharp mentally most of the time, but the question, why are you wearing masks again?
Came up every what's that on your face? Mom, it's a mask. Why are you wearing a mask? Because there's a pandemic. Not in my house, there's not.
Right.
No, Mom, but we don't want to give it to you because it's really bad if you're old and you get it.
Right.
Who's old? She would say that. It was who's on first, what's on second. We'd have this little thing all the time. And we set up our party tables from our house. Right. We set them up in my mother's backyard. 3 tables 6 feet apart, and that's how we would have lunch. We would have lunch once a week that way, and then we would visit my mom on the porch. And
trying to keep our distance.
Trying to keep our distance. We, try and make sure nobody else goes in the house, but her caretaker.
But more recently, since the vaccinations, et cetera, we're back to playing dominoes.
We're back to playing dominoes, which is very important.
She's a killer at dominoes.
She is.
It's humbling to get beaten by a 96-year-old.
That's right. She whoops you all the time.
A lot.